Good morning, everyone. So today I'm going to discuss about uh, nutrition as medicine, right? So since COVID struck, we have been very, become very serious about our health. We have been focusing on, healthy choices, working out a lot, walking, brisk walking, having preferring healthy diet, maybe even checking, food labels, uh, be very cautious about what we're eating outside, So there's a lot of these steps which is really good, right? But exactly what does I mean by nutrition and medicine or food as medicine, right? So we have been, seeing there's a lot of things doing around. There's a lot of nutritional service providers, telling you some sort of diets based on your blood works, based on some questionnaires, some DNA testing, some blah blah blah, right? But the fact is, here let me decode, how it really works, whether such nutrition solution really work for you or work for a smaller period of time, right? So essentially, if you see, our body, uh, how does our body absorb nutrients, or how does our body metabolize a lot of foods we eat, right? So there are upwards of 2000 plus enzymatic reactions happening inside the body. Then there are 40 trillion microbes in our gut, right? Another trillion microbes in our mouth, right? And these microbes expresses more than 99% genes that are expressed inside our body, right? And then there are more than 25,000 molecules in all the foods taken together, right? So you can see there is a huge trillions of data sets taking place when we even take a bite, right? So essentially these interaction between 25,000 molecules, 40 trillion microbes, and the enzymatic reactions actually uh, impacts determines whether a food is good or bad for us. And for these impact there is biological, biochemical active inside our body, right? So essentially it is very difficult for anyone to actually tell what you should eat, what you should not, right? And that's what uh, when we started Gene Free Athletics, that's what we decided, we really need to understand what is going on inside the body, right? So we started with the gut microbiome, where we know that, now we know for sure there are a number of research papers and studies which clearly mentions that, root cause of every single chronic disease is low-grade chronic inflammation, what we call systemic inflammation, right? Which actually overactivates our immune response, and actually it's an outcome of overactive immune response, and then that's what makes us, alters our genes expression, lead to production of various inflammatory markers in the body, makes us develop disease, right? And uh, so inflammation is we know that, Hippocrates was said 2,500 years ago, right? That all these begin in the gut, right? And we have been understanding, a lot of the microbes which are living in our gut, what they're doing, what they're producing, how they're impacting our physiology, right? And modulating their activities, or feeding them with the right food substrates is something which will drive our biology towards a healthy state, right? And we all know that leaky gut is something which actually triggers a lot of autoimmune issues, food intolerances, lactose intolerance, gluten intolerance, a lot of these things. But what we have also found that, the microbes living in our mouth, right? They are equally important from understanding, how our body is working. In fact, although in our mouth we don't have more than 200 billion microbes, but they are much more diverse than that in the gut, right? And then uh, we have we really found that, a lot of these bacterias in our mouth, microbes in our mouth can, so if you have inflammation in the gum, it can actually lead to situation of dementia, neurodegenerative disorders, right? For instance, there's certain bacteria like P. gingivalis, they can actually, if there's an inflammation in the gum, it can cross. the, it can go to the blood, cause the blood-brain barrier, go go inside the, brain, start doing infection, and that's how we develop a lot of neurodegenerative disorders, right? Or these bacteria, some of the bacteria can even in the mouth can even cause colon cancer or IBD, right? Uh, how it has happened is, there's a specific bacteria called, we, a lot of people who actually come from science side understand there's a bacteria called Fusobacterium nucleatum, right? And that's in people who have colon cancer, this bacteria have been overly expressed over 400 times, right, in the gut, right? And from a IBD perspective, same bacteria can, actually cause it actually can cause IBD as well, but at a the expression at a lower stage, right? But this Fusobacterium nucleatum is actually a whole microbiome, right? So essentially, a lot of these bacteria, every day we swallow around 1 liter of saliva, and all these bacteria can actually move towards the gut, right? But we have certain checks and balances in place. We have the stomach acid, which prevents these bacteria from going down. But if in situations like when we have acid reflux and heartburn, and we generally fall for modern medicine methods like taking PPIs, right? Next human protein pump inhibitors, it actually wipes off our stomach acid or lowers our stomach acid levels. So these bacteria can actually find the way to get into the gut and then start doing inflammation there. And that's some of the reason why this bacteria is actually causing colon cancer. So it's not gut microbiome, it's actually oral microbiome, which changes their address and goes to the gut and start doing inflammation there. Similarly for IBD as well, right? Similarly, there's another bacteria called Placenta pneumonia, right? So it's a certain strain of this can actually can lead to production of certain protein enzymes which have a similar molecular mimicry to those found in our joints, right? So a lot of these uh, it triggers inflammation, right? So there's a lot of attack by immune cells on our joints, and which leads to autoimmune disorders like arthritis, right? So this is one of the reasons why gut microbiome is even linked to arthritis, right? So again, food actually, coming back to the question of the food, right? So food actually plays a key role. So a lot of these foods are combination of 25,000 plus molecules. These molecules are actually metabolized by these microbes, right? From mouth to the gut. So how it happens is, so the microbes in the mouth actually pre-digest or pre-process the foods, and it sends in molecular signal to the gut that telling about what is coming down and be ready for to metabolize a particular stuff, right? So a lot of these molecules. So if you go to a supermarket, you buy a broccoli, you buy a spinach, you buy a kale, you buy a cabbage, you buy a Brussels sprouts, right? All these are actually foods, but when it goes inside our mouth, it's nothing but a warehouse of various chemicals and bioactive molecules, right? So these molecules are actually pre-processed by oral microbiome, then go to your gut, right, where it is synthesized into various stuff. For instance, what we as gene freaks look at, so we look at your for instance, oxalate metabolism. So if you have suboptimal oxalate metabolism, foods such as spinach or kale are harmful, right? But it's nothing called, so you may find, some healthcare service providers with fitness are telling each vegetable. So which vegetables, we don't know. So oxalate. So if you have a suboptimal oxalate level, vegetables such as spinach or kale can be doing inflammation, can impact your kidney functioning, can lead to kidney stones and joint pain. Similarly, if you're taking too much of broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, right? These all things are very high in glucosides, and it's a potent, sulfate producing activity. So if you have a lot of microbes like the sulfobrio, which are sort of proteobacteria, which can actually convert this glucosides into sulfate and produce a lot of H2S, right, which can lead to situation of diarrhea and digestive issues, right? So this is, again, there's nothing called as good and bad food. Similarly, if you're told, don't eat red meat, or don't eat a lot of chicken, because it can lead to heart disease. So it actually happens, there's something called, L-carnitine inside these foods, right? So if and then a lot of these microbes, yeah, a lot of proteobacteria can actually convert this L-carnitine into stuff like TMA, which can pass, it can go through liver, passes through bloodstream, go through liver, where it gets converted to TMAO, which is what causes plague in the arteries, right? So if you don't have bacteria which you don't have bacteria which can produce TMA, probably you can eat red meat, you can eat fish, right? Which is not going to cause any impact on your heart health, right? So these are few of the examples how you can look at food as medicine or food as toxins, right? Depending upon how these foods are being metabolized inside the body. So counting calories or uh, doing a calorie deficit without understanding how those foods are being metabolized inside the body, how those foods are being processed inside your body is just waste of time, money, and playing with your health, right? So another thing which has I've seen which is coming around is a lot of these anti-aging supplements or regenerating supplements, which claims that they can make you young, right? So essentially one of them is NMN or NAT plus, right? But what is the function? So NAT plus is really, really great in terms of improving your mitochondrial biogenesis, right? And also make you look younger, right? So essentially, a lot of these, what it does is, a lot of these uh, food, what we the carbs and fats, also what we eat, it is converted into energy, right? But for that, these foods have to reach to mitochondria, and for that purpose, you need certain uh, transport mechanism, right? For so it's not always NMN. It can, for some people it is L-carnitine if you're taking a lot of long chain fatty acids, you're taking a lot of fats, right? Or for someone it can be CoQ10, someone it can be resveratrol, someone it can be uh, NMN plus, someone it can be vitamin B9, vitamin B12. It's again, but assuming that NMN is going to make you look younger, it is going to improve your mitochondrial biogenesis, is just an assumption, just a flawed assumption, because in a lot of cases NMN is really, really harmful, right? So if you talk of because NMN is a form of niacin, vitamin B3, and vitamin B3, we know that it's really, really inflammatory in case if you have a very high uric acid production, right? If you're consuming a lot of these purines and fructose, which is actually converting all this stuff into uric acid, right? So which is, so a lot of microbes can do that, right? If those microbes active inside your gut, right? They can actually convert these stuff into uric acid, which can trigger inflammation. So if you have a high uric acid, probably NMN should be avoided. Or if you have uh, very high senescence or very high inflammation, right? It should be avoided, because what happens is, so this NMN actually improves your mitochondrial biogenesis. So whenever the energy is produced, there's a lot of free radicals being produced inside the body, which further triggers pro-inflammatory activity, right? So these free radicals can trigger inflammation, can cause cellular stress, right? So if you have a lot of inflammation, going on, if you have a lot of multiple health conditions going on, right? So NMN may not be good for you, right? And even there's certain research which have found that it can also have pro-cancer function. So I think I have discussed this in our videos a couple of weeks back, but here I wanted to share something really, really important, right? Which will really help people understand whether you should go for an ML or not. So there is a lot of companies in India are actually selling this supplement. They predict that you'll look younger, you will reduce your weight, you will actually overcome your blood pressure situation, a lot of these things. But recently, this NMN as a dietary supplement has been banned in US and Europe, right? And this is an official letter from US FDA, which has classified NMN as a possible drug, not as a dietary supplement, right? So essentially, if you go through this article properly, and has been authorized for investigation as a new drug for which substantial clinical investigation has been initiated and for which existence of such investigation has been made public, right? The article may not be marketed or as or in a dietary supplement unless the article is marketed as a dietary or food before being authorized for investigation as a new drug, right? So essentially, these all drugs are are being banned in US as a dietary supplement. It can be consumed as a drug. Again, it is investigation going on, right? And it depends upon the investigation, the research. Probably doctors and healthcare practitioners may look at recommending this as a drug. But same these things are being sold as supplements in a lot of these companies. So probably be very very cautious about uh, buying this or you're subscribing for such supplements, right? Understand your biology. First thing is, just to sum up, it is very difficult for anyone to tell you what you should eat, what you should not, until unless he or she decodes every single molecular interaction having inside the body. That's what we are doing at Gene Free Genetics, right? So we sequence your gut microbiome, we sequence your vaginal microbiome, we sequence your oral microbiome, we convert that into not on the existence of bacteria, but on the functions, what they're doing, what they're producing, the various pathways, the various metabolites being produced, and then we convert them into right set of nutrition interventions entirely data driven, entirely based on what your body is telling us, right? Second is, do not fall for supplements. Understand why you need supplements, right? I think we have discussed this earlier also, but uh, supplements by the name itself means that it has to supplement your food. So obviously food is your primary source of your nutrition, right? Supplement can only come into picture when you have a lot of inflammation or probably you lack some digestive enzyme which are finding it difficult for you to convert a lot of nutrients into foods into vitamins and minerals and a lot of antioxidants and such and fatty acids, right? So in that case you may need supplements, right? But again, in what quantity, that is what needs to be answered, right? So these are few questions you should consider before you sign up for any service provider in terms of subscribing to a diet plan or resorting to some sort of supplements, right? That's it for today. Have a great day ahead. Thank you very much.